aware that the Scandinavian basically starts with e4 and d5 immediately. So it takes on, it's a counterattack, kind of. Yeah, and one would want to immediately take control of the center. So they would want to, yeah, to attack the center. Why are you controlling the center immediately? Yeah, so black playing this means he's ready for some sharp lines, and white accepting it means he's also probably ready. So, and one of the things that you must learn in chess is actually kind of out preparing your opponent. Yeah, it's very sad when you're being out prepared or outplayed. It's really, really sad. So when you get to know what to do next, then it's easier for you to actually play on. So uh, in this PGN, I got to cover so many of the lines that people tend to play: knight f3, uh, knight to c3, d4, then f4, all the kind of gambit lines. Then in case they played b3, c4, and obviously all these come with their own trumps and setbacks, but you have to be ready for them, because if at all you can't take advantage of it, then it's pointless. So the Scandinavian, you get to take your queen out. Okay, this is the main line, and when you get to take your queen out, it means you're also ready for the many fallbacks, because we shall get to see others that you can have tempo on the queen later on, and all, and the many responses that black can play. This is so far a 24th chapter study, and obviously it's more than this, but this was just for three main parts. That is the e takes d and queen to d8 with c4, and also the Tennison Gambit. Yeah, I would like to start with the Tennison Gambit, because it's something that many tend to face and don't know what to do about it. So the Tennison Gambit comes in after e4 d5, then knight f3, and I do not edit as actually bad for white, though many tend to play it, and I know, yeah, many of us have also tried it out. I once played it mistakenly, and yeah, but I managed to actually win my game. Yeah, so the best move for black is actually to take, and upon taking, obviously they have to move their knight. Well, this is the most active square for the knight. You might see some people also tend to move the knight to e5, and others who maybe made the mouse slip to move it back. Yeah, so sad for them. Yeah, but the main line comes with knight to g5, and knight to g5 it's an obvious plan, attacking the pawn and trying to win it back. But white should actually take advantage of this, and black should take advantage of this and actually develop the pieces upon the thorn. This is a very deep thorn in white's position, because it takes away that one chance of playing d4 immediately. So white can no longer play d4 immediately, because I have an option of en passant. They cannot develop this bishop harmoniously, because it has been blocked by its own pawn. And two, this knight, which has a very good square here, has been denied that square. So he has to waste some more moves to stabilize the position, but that's supposed to be a plus for us. So this is when we get to develop normally. I've seen some people start the development with knight to f6. It's not really the best, because much as it looks like it's doing the same thing, controlling the center and all, but it can fall back with bishop to c4, and the pawn is the bishop doesn't get to have this access to even defend the pawn because of these pawns. So you end up getting into some other bad French defense structure. So it feels similar to a French defense, but with a misplaced knight. Yeah. So if that's so, then let's see how to continue. So knight to c3, then knight to f6. And now bishop to c4 cannot hurt us because of the pawn to e6. One, this is kind of an upgraded French defense because one, uh, our bishop is out of the pawn chain, as you can see. So meaning in a long term, we would also want to put this on the board. That is if we are to ever exchange this bishop for a knight. And two, yeah, black is doing well. White is struggling with this misplaced knight. So we see one of the main moves in the position, that is queen to e2. Another move that many tend to play is castling, but castling is not really good because after h6, the knight is forced to either go here, or some people play fancy and sack it there. And I think many of the people who tend to play there, they always lose the game. Yeah, it's a 66 win rate. Wow, I wonder how actually this 32% happens. Yeah, and yeah, this is also bad. Everything is losing. Yeah, so yeah, and you wouldn't want to play your knight here because after this, then I'm so well to do, and yeah, black is positionally better. Though you have to actually play it out, but black is positionally better. Yeah. Um. So we again get to this position where, oh sorry, back to the main line, which is queen to e. And queen to e2 feels like a good move. You want to round up your pawn. Such a position can also be seen in another opening, which is totally different from this, and that is the Budapest Gambit, which starts with, oh sorry, d4, knight to f6, then after c4, e5. So after the takes, knight to g4, bishop f. And obviously when the bishop is here, then this is not the best because this closes out the bishop, and yeah, you're biting on granite, so it's not really good. And if this, then this is when it comes in handy, and you'd want to round up the pawn. Yeah, so if you, yeah, if we got in some other moves with black, with white and black, so they can take the pawn, better to actually take with this knight. And yeah, black is doing fine. So let's go back to our position. Oops, sorry. So we're in this position, and black has played so many moves. White would want to round up the pawn, get back their pawn, castle, and be okay. If actually they get to put in all these moves, then they're actually fine. And black is slightly behind in development with a quite passive position, though a pawn up right now. So after the move knight to c6, I actually tagged it as an interesting move because it looks quiet, but it's a quiet before the storm. Yeah, if we turned on our friendly fish here, our friendly fish would say -1, but I don't think it is just -1. It has to be more than that. It's actually more than that. Yeah, I think the engine is still thinking through it. Yeah, and the reason for this, let's turn off the engine. Yeah, the reason for this is because after a very basic move, knight takes e4. Black has a move, knight to d4, and actually black is better, literally winning, because a -2.4 advantage is actually good enough to convert to a win, unless otherwise, honestly, because I don't actually get how some of these people lose in such a beautiful position, because there are no more tactics actually for white to play. Yeah, one, because black controls this square more, that three pieces of white are obviously eyeing, meaning yeah, white has a certain grip in the position. Two, it's attacking the queen and the soft spot on c2. The soft spot on c2 really gets to be really bad, because right now that the queen left home, then you have to do something about it. And the main move that white always plays is queen to d3. Well, queen to d3 tries to hold back the position, but we have to first understand what's happening in the position. If you could actually pause or take some time on your side to see what's happening in the position, is many pieces for black are well positioned for the kill, and white's pieces are hanging, mainly being the e4 knight. It looks so beautifully placed, but it's actually hanging in the position. Yeah. So in this position, after the move a6, white is lost. Let's first see some other moves that white can play after the move knight to d4. Well, queen to d1 is bad because obviously you lose a piece after that. Yeah, so it means the queen was actually holding a piece. Yeah, queen to e3 is equally bad because of the check and winning the lady. So queen to d1 is one of the few tries to. So queen to d3 is the only sensible try to actually try to hold your position together. But this steps into a very, very uncomfortable and deadly pin from the bishop. And you realize that actually the bishop is also coordinating with the knight onto this square. So white has so many moves to actually make to try to hold their position together. But after s6, if we played a nothing move like okay, let's pass g3. We can see one of the things in the position is this, trying to deflect this knight and win the other, of which the queen in turn is in a pin. So that is one of the things. Then two, the move a6 is actually stopping any piece from ever landing here, thus getting a greater advantage. Yeah. So what would be actually white's of the many moves that white can play? This is the best move that actually white can play. Reason being, you don't want a pawn to reach b4. So it's a pawn sacrifice, but it's trying to consolidate the position. Because right now, actually, white is positionally lost, and the advantage is grave enough for black to win. I would like us to see a game that I played some time back, and I had in this position. Yeah, it was in, I think it was the Super Blitz tournament. I don't remember who my opponent was, but take the normal moves, and they castled, which is another move, but it's questionable. It's actually a mistake in such a position. If we turned on our friendly fish, yeah, it's -4. Obviously, I was prepared for this too, because after this move, then white is actually lost. They sacked the knight, thinking probably they would get my king in the position, but actually white doesn't have enough pieces to hunt down my king. So after I took he gave me another one, trying to open up the lines, and after queen takes, which is obviously attacking this, I have a beautiful move that I played, which was queen to d4 check. And after the king moved away, which is literally one of the few moves, the other is obviously this and also this, but my reply would still be the same. After I take the second piece, and nothing is clear on the compensation that white actually has. There's actually, white is both positional and materially lost, because after this move, then my opponent doesn't have the luxury to actually take this, because the rook is hanging. This checkmate. Two, we look at the other move that they can try to play. They played in, which was also played in the game, that is d3. But I moved away offering an exchange of queens, which wasn't obviously accepted because he's two pieces down. I mean, it's now bad. But then the move queen to c6 doesn't just offer a queen exchange, but it also pins the pawn to the king. So the king is still badly placed, and in a few moves I managed to convert my advantage. Well, the reason for trying for fianchetering my bishop wasn't just to bring out the bishop, but also to protect the knight, because in some lines I'm looking at weakening his position more, and that is something that you'd also want to achieve as black in this position. So they pushed the pawn. I missed a good move here. I hope the viewers and the later viewers could see it, because I missed a very beautiful move, bishop takes, because now we can see why the bishop was put here. It was to defend the knight. Obviously, if let us say I played nothing, then they played here, then I take, yeah, it would be a shame. I either lose the rook or the king, one of the two. Probably the king might be lost first, so that's a shame. Yeah. So this was a preparatory move, because actually right now white has no move to play. That even if they played that and they played this in the game, and they noticed later on that they actually missed a forced another forcing win, and in a few I managed to actually develop all my pieces and win the game. Well, this wasn't still necessary. I can take out the piece. Yeah, I can actually take out the piece, and it's still not clear what actually why white is playing on. I think they probably wanted to bring in more moves into the game. Yeah. So, and after the move bishop to c5, I exchanged offered an exchange of the queens. I took out the knight, which is defending the queen, forcing them to exchange the queens. And after the rook exchange and queen takes, I marched out in the position two bishops up and two bishops and a pawn up, and that is technically winning. And after winning the last pawn on the check, yeah, resignation followed. And yeah, this is one of the things in the Tennison Gambit that you can actually face. You can always get to see that happening, and it can really get to be terrible when you are the one on the ropes. Yeah. So basically, the Scandinavian is not as scanty as people can always call it, because you can tend to get many good positions out of it, many attacking positions out of it. And if you're ready for it, then you're really ready for active and good chess. Yeah. So this is, as earlier on said, the 23 chapter study, and many of the I get to see many of the critical lines in it. You can always check it out and review. I get to show what happens when, and the few errors that actually many players in white also tend to play, because obviously I'm an E4 player, and if a person played me Scandinavian, I have to play something. So I get to show all these many lines that people tend to always fall into, and why and how you ought to react to just come out of the opening so well, because this is not about cramming your way out, but you must have a sensible position advantage or opening advantage to play on, which is either equal or even better. Yeah. So we shall get to always see all these many other lines, because the Scandinavian is wide, and as earlier on said, that since there are so many replies to it, then there's the queen f5, there's the queen d6, and the queen d8, then the queen d8 Scandinavian, which is often the chosen line for many because it is safer, and it doesn't also come just like that. It obviously has its own trumps too. So get to go through the study. I'll be connecting more with any of the viewers in case there's anything that is always asked, in case there are questions and you'd want me to review something in the game of the Scandinavian, you'll get to know more. Yeah, and right now I would want to show you something that yeah, I think we can get to see a game that was in such a position, a high level game. Let's go to the chess database, the masters database, all set. Yeah, so in this position, uh, no master has apparently played this. Wow, okay, this is so interesting. Let's get to see the higher rated lichess players. It's rapid and classical. Yeah, and it has actually happened so many times. And after the move, the knight to d4, let's get a game. Oh, wow, a 2-800 lost. There were two GMs playing, yeah. And after a simple, okay, this is so interesting. After a simple bishop to e7, castles and that, and white was still in their trouble. Let's get to see how they converted the game. Yeah, so it got so positional, and I think that's why the conversion came in. After that, then the pawn marched forward, and there was nothing to do about it because, okay, this is interesting. So, oh, wow, so black in this position merged the piece, two pieces for the rook with a pawn and a very dangerous extended pawn. Wow, okay, this is beautiful chess indeed, and I think from here we can obviously get to convert such a thing. It's not really a problem for us. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you can try out the Scandinavian in your games too. You can like, follow me on Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's in the link. It's in my it's on my streamers page link, and you can, yeah, it's called Jim's Chess. You can get to like and subscribe. Inbox me something that you'd want me to study more, because I am actually, yeah, a Dutch and Scandinavian player getting to bring the life back into chess. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you for viewing. Thank you for everything. Unless there's any other thing, please let me know. And bye bye for now.